The V and VMAX mechanics of the Pokémon trading card game were introduced during the 8th generation of Pokémon, a game-changing feature that gave many cards a new competitive edge, but there are still some V cards missing the VMAX counterpart and some Pokémon that haven't had a chance to experience the V to VMAX line that deserve to be added before the end of 2022. Before Pokémon Scarlet and Violet take over with Gen 9 and presumably a new TCG mechanic, Pokémon ought to send off the VMAX mechanic with a bang. There are a number of different Pokémon that could use VMAX cards. While Pokémon Scarlet and Violet TCG cards might release soon, there are still a few more international Pokémon Sword and Shield trading card expansion sets to be released first. The Gen 8 trading cards began with the Sword and Shield expansion set, featuring new and old Pokémon alike. Since 2020, there have been 11 main expansion sets for Pokémon Sword and Shield, as well as various special extensions, promos, and collaborations. Additionally, the 8th generation of Pokémon TCG also introduced the new mechanics, V and VMAX. Special mechanics to make Pokémon stronger were introduced in the Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire trading cards through the X mechanic. Other examples of special mechanics include the GX, Legend, Prime, and SP mechanics. While the differences between Pokémon TCG V and VMAX cards do vary, a Pokémon VMAX card cannot be used without first using the V counterpart, as they work in an evolutionary way, similar to the Dynamax ability also introduced in the 8th generation. As a result, Pokémon trading cards that feature either the V or VMAX mechanics are often rare and ultra-rare, making them highly sought after for competitive players and collectors alike. However, as the Pokémon TCG brings the Sword and Shield era to a close, there are still many Pokémon out there missing from the V and VMAX collection that ought to be added before the new era and new Pokémon of Gen 9 take over the trading card game. Pokémon with TCG V cards, but not VMAX. The Lost Origin cards worth the most money in the most recent Pokémon TCG release consist mostly of new V mechanic cards, as well as some VMAX cards. This set also added more cards featuring an even newer mechanic, VSTAR. While this mechanic goes hand in hand with the V effect, there are still so many Pokémon who were introduced with a V mechanic, which led many to the assumption there would be a later VMAX version of these same cards. Since there is still some time before another, non-V related mechanic is introduced, the Pokémon TCG might just have more in store for these Pokémon. Below is a list of all the Pokémon who have been printed with a V mechanic, but not of VMAX. Alakazam, Ampharos, Appleton, Blissey, Breloom, Conkeldurr, Crabmanable, Dodrio, Drampa, Dubulaisk, Electrode, Eldegus, Exegutter, Phalanx, Flygon, Gallade, Garchomp, Golurk, Graplik, Gramble, Hatterene, Hunchcrow, Houndoom, Indeedee, Cricketune, Liepard, Luminion, Luxray, Medicham, Melodic, Mr. Rhyme, Noivern, Oranguru, Pincurchin, Poltergeist, Rapidash, Sableye, Surfetchid, Slaking, Slowbro, Slowking, the next in the evolution line, has V and VMAX cards, Sneasler, Starmie, Steelix, Stoutland, Stunfisk, Talonflame, Torkolt, Serena, Tyranitar, Volcarona, Vikavolt, Wobbuffet, Wailord, Wardeer starter, legendary and mythical Pokémon that need VMAX. Since Lost Origin isn't the last Sword and Shield set, there's hope that there could be more V and VMAX editions of starters, legendaries, and mythical Pokémon. These are among the most popular and arguably the most important in the Pokémon series, as they are the ones more commonly advertised and marketed to potential audiences, making them some of the most recognizable. While their status as important Pokémon is already cemented, the TCG could go all in and give players and collectors a chance to have a cohesive, complete collection of special edition starters, legendaries, and mythical Pokémon. This would be a much more pleasing alternative to picking only a handful of these important Pokémon to represent. Below is a list of all starter, legendary, and mythical Pokémon that deserve a VMAX card. Those who already have a V card are indicated a V marker. Articuno, V, Azelf, Chesnaught, Cobalion, Cosmum, Cresselia, Deoxys, DNCM, Brumpolion, V, Innamorous, V, Entei, V, Feraligatr, Genesect, V, Groudon, Hoopa, V, Ho-Oh, Incineroar, V, Infernup, V, Jirachi, V, Keldeo, V, Kyogre Landorus Latios Linala Magierna Manaphy Marshadow Meganium, Miloetta Melton Mesprit Molters, V. Necrozma, V. Primarina Raikou, V. Regis Regialecki Regid Drago Regigigas Regirak, V. Registil Reshiram Rotom, V. Septal Silvali Solgalios Suk Yun Swampert Tapu, Bulu Tapu Fini Tapu Lel Tarakian Thunderous Torterra Nulluxi Volcanian, V. Virizion, V. Xerneas Eveltalzation, V. Zamazenta, V. Zapdos, V. Zerud, V. Zekrom Zygarde Pokémon who could make a triumphant return with VMAX. The TCG's final Sword and Shield set is huge, making the Silver Tempest set a worthy celebration and goodbye to the 8th Pokémon generation. However, there are still many Pokémon that haven't been printed in years that deserve a comeback in the final stages of Gen 8. While some Pokémon are getting a slow but steady rerun, such as Dugong getting its first printing in many years in the Lost Origins set, there are still many that haven't gotten a redemption arc. All of these Pokémon deserve more than just a bulk common card, but a real welcome back to the TCG with something like the VMAX mechanic. Below is a list of Pokémon that haven't been printed in so long. A VMAX card would be the ultimate surprise. Alakazam Amoongus Aramatus Archeops Armaldo Audino Aurorus Bonsley Caracosta Cradily Dragulge Glaligum Shoes Illumise Kabutops Com O Mini Ornitiqueen Nidiking Nihilego Omastar Pheromosa Fian Pituri Uniclus Spinta Sunflora Swella Tangrith Tyrantrum Unknown. Variants, Venomoth Wathogwen. Considering the best Pokémon TCG cards to buy in 2022. For collections and future investments, many VMAX cards will begin to rise in value as the mechanic is put on the back burner for whatever the next gen brings to the trading card game. V and VMAX mechanics have been immensely important to the continued success of the TCG for players and collectors alike, and an important signifier of the Pokémon Sword and Shield era. From popular Pokémon that don't have any of these mechanics to forgotten Pokémon, it isn't too late for the Pokémon TCG to release more VMAX trading cards.